Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel. I am Kieran's H and we are bullet journaling again this week. I had to redo that intro like a million times because I can't speak. I can't say the word bullet journaling apparently. It's great. Anyways, so today we are doing the January weekly spreads. Normally you do the first spread, like the first week or whatever, in the video where you do the monthly cover page and stuff, but I didn't do that because that one was really long because it kept messing up and I don't know, but this is the first one and I learned some things on this first page that I realized could probably be better and I fixed that in the later pages, but this one turned out kind of weird. It's still a good page. I think I liked it, but I made a good bit of mistakes. Like on the days of the week I used a different marker than I did for all the other ones, and I overlined at some parts and I had to fix that, which is kind of embarrassing. And then I had to fill up a whole bunch of space that I didn't plan for because I didn't even think about it, but then I had to do that, so it was fun. I had a great time. I try to make the theme of this set of spreads, the January spreads, blue, just because I was in a blue mood and I think of January, I think of blue. However, it turned out a lot more springy than I thought it would be, but that's just because I found some butterflies in a magazine and I really wanted to use them because they were pretty. I like the way it turned out though. I will say these first two pages are different from the rest of the spreads because, so for some context, I don't have actual deadlines for my schoolwork. There's just a date at the end of each semester that all the work has to be done by, including our exams, and we have to schedule our exams ourselves with our facilitator and teacher. It's a great time. It's not. I always mess up my plans. It's awful. But, so these first 2 weeks are actually kind of my weeks off, I guess, because one of them's an exam week, and the first 3 days I consider part of my break, even though we don't technically have breaks, but yeah. So I put them on this the same section because there's not a lot of schoolwork that needs to be done, because this is my school planner bullet journal thing. Yeah. And I had to, I saved some space. That's where I messed up. By the way, those arrows weren't meant to be there, and then they were. So had to make some adjustments because I didn't like some of the things that I did. Most of the mistakes were done on this page. I think I mentioned that, but it wasn't as many mistakes as I thought it was gonna be because I have issues with making a lot of mistakes, but I think I planned this out pretty well that I kind of avoided mistakes for the most part, which is really, really nice. I really appreciated that. So, yeah. About the spreads though, I realize I didn't finish talking about that because my brain is all over the place. So these first two pages don't have a weekly assignments page. So they're just the one page. This is me cutting the excess off, but they don't have a weekly assignments page because I didn't need one for these 2 weeks. I just know when my exams are going to be scheduled, so I write them in, but that's about it. And the other week spreads, I have to have a weekly assignments page so I know all of the assignments that I need to get done, so I can have a running master list of a to-do list, so I know exactly what needs to be done and I can check it off and just spread it throughout the week. That way I'm not on a strict schedule, but I just know what I need to have done by the end of the week. These two, however, didn't need that, so I just put them on the same page together. But this is what I mean whenever I said stuff that I didn't plan for. So I ended up making a key of the things that I use whenever it comes to the bullet journal aspect of this, because I don't know what's gonna get put in these, but I just kind of threw it in there because I thought it would be cute and I needed to take up some space. So I put in a little tiny notes thing for me to just jot down things. And then I put in the key as well, because I don't think I used the traditional bullet journaling things. I don't know where I got the, like, things that I use, but I don't think it's the traditional bullet journal. This actually, like, these little, like, note things are my favorite part of this particular page. I just think they're so cute, and, like, it just adds a little something that was missing from the rest of the page, because it was just like a big blank space at the bottom with, of course, not a blank space, but with just the pattern behind it. So I think it, like, really tied the rest of it together. I will say, I like the idea of having, like, a little mini calendar on each and every one of them, but drawing them out on every single week is very tiring. It's just doing the same thing over and over again, which is kind of frustrating, but I like the way it turned out. But, like, you can see my key. So, like, I have, like, an incomplete task, oh, that was upside down. That's embarrassing. There we go. A, like, halfway done point, ones that I move, and then, of course, the completed ones. But I think that turned out pretty cute. And now we're gonna head over to the next one. This one was very, very simple compared to the other one because there wasn't as many things that I glued in. And I think I was actually supposed to include something else in this, and I had a hard time figuring out where exactly I need to put everything. But this is about the time that I realized I can tone down how many markers I use, and it'll look a lot better. And I didn't use any, like, regular black pen in this entire, like, section of spreads, and I think it turned out really, really nice. I like that there's no harsh black lines. And I did make a couple of mistakes, especially on the outlining of the Monday square, but other than that, this page turned out pretty okay. I liked it. My personal favorite part about this page is I like the clouds in the top right. Not the top right, like in the middle. The ones I'm outlining right now, those. I like those a lot. The ones I added, like, last minute didn't turn out as good, but it's okay. It still, like, is a cute spread. This is another one of my mom's favorites out of the weeks that I did. I just like the simple square parts of it. Like, it looks very clean to me. I think I like the clean minimalistic things, but also I like to glue things into my notebook, so I don't know. You see me struggling with how I want these to look, because I can't figure out exactly what I planned whenever I did these, and it just didn't turn out the way I liked, so I just moved stuff around, tried to figure out what needed to go where, and eventually I scrapped some of those and just went with the clouds for this one. I think it turned out pretty cute though. It's almost done. See, I added some more, like, doodly clouds. They don't turn out the best. It's okay. I will say my favorite part about this was it was just me using my Ohuhu markers and gluing stuff in from a magazine. So I think it turned out pretty good. Of course I used a pencil in my glue stick, but I think it turned out nice. My least favorite part about everything is erasing it. It stresses me out so bad having to erase absolutely everything, so because I don't know what it's gonna look like at the end, but that one turned out okay. This is one of my favorite spreads. The only thing I messed up on this one was the January. This is my favorite one though. I like the setup of it. That was me realizing I forgot to highlight the day of the week. But I just think it looks so simple and, like, I don't know, it just really speaks to me. I like that it's, like, separated into 9 equal, like, rectangles. It really just scratches, like, that particular itch in my brain. Like, equal spaces? Absolutely. But I did mess up the Jan part of it. You can see in the bottom right. I I don't know what exactly I did, but it wasn't good. My favorite part about this one was actually doing all the outlining stuff and seeing it all of like the equal spaces come together, and it was so nice. I think I didn't do this on camera, but at the end I filled in all of the little banner things, I'm pretty sure. But like I didn't record me doing it because I wasn't sure I was gonna do it at first. And that's why I left them the way that they are. But I like the way it looks whenever they're colored in. Oh no, I left them white and then I colored the, like the part that should be darker because it's folded behind. That's what I did. And as you can see, like a lot of space is taken up in this, so I only glued one thing into this section, and I think it's a nice little highlight. It actually doesn't really look like it makes too much sense, but I liked it and it was blue, so I glued it in there. It's actually, it's a Nirvana album, so glued it right above my calendar. It's all good. I love me some Nirvana. I think the issue was I tried to color in the Jan. Maybe I didn't mess it up. I thought I genuinely messed that up. Okay, maybe I didn't mess that up. Whoops. And that's basically it. I think it looks nice. This is probably my favorite spread. And then we go over to the weekly assignments, and this is what I was talking about. So I like split my page up into 4 different like running lists, and it's just gonna house all of the assignments they need to get done that week so I can stay on track and not get super duper behind. I'm taking my civics honors class, my AP English language, my math 4, and my PE class online. Those are my classes. Online PE is awful. I don't know who came up with that and why we can't take something that doesn't require me taking pictures of me working out. Anyways, let me know if you also have to take online PE, because it's probably the most awful thing I've ever experienced. It's not like I have any contact with like actual teachers. I don't have Zoom or anything. It's just that particular thing, awful. I would never do it again, ever. So. But the weekly assignment things probably look really, really boring, but it's because I can't take up too much space because I don't know what assignments I'm going to need, and I just I know my PE, which is why it's on the end, can get put on the edge of that one, so. And the weekly assignment pages are just the exact same thing over and over again, so they can get pretty boring to do, but I also like how clean they look. I will say I did try to like spice it up a little bit so not every weekly assignments page was exactly the same. So like I did different like fonts. Like the first one I made the weekly cursive, and the second one I did assignments in cursive, and then I changed the colors that I was using. Basically swapped them out. This is probably my least favorite weekly assignments page. It's just kind of boring. It looks kind of weird, but I needed all the space I could for civics. And then I erase. Ah yes, half of this video is me erasing things I drew as guidelines. Okay, this is also another one of my favorite ones. I don't think I've glued a single thing in on this one. I just outlined everything I already did. It's very, very simple, and I kind of really like it. It divides up the spaces pretty nicely, and I don't know. I just think it's neat. I will say, my handwriting could use some work, I know that. It's because I just, especially like the days of the week, ooh, like in the little mini calendar, that one could use some particular help. I do think this one page does look a little bland simply because there is nothing glued into it when every other page has something glued into it. But I don't know, I think it just has its own sort of charm because it's very minimalist. I will admit, I had my phone open like looking on Pinterest for new font and spread ideas, and I kept losing the pins, so I would just try to do it off of memory. But we're almost done. I like the highlighty thing to break it up and everything. Now this one might be my favorite, more complex of any of the spreads. This is the last week of January. I messed the Jan on this one up. I know if I didn't mess up the other one, I messed up the January on this one. So this one is very heavily butterfly themed, simply because I just needed something to fill in that little bit of space in the bottom left. And I had a big strip of blue butterflies that I could put in there. So that's exactly what I did. But the outlining of this is what messed it up, in my opinion. It just made it look really, really messy. And I know that's something that some people like, some people don't. I don't know if I like it or not. So I do like this one, but I'm not the biggest fan of the horizontal sections, if that makes sense. I prefer mine to be squares rather than really long rectangles, so I have more room like to write in a list, if that makes sense. But I think I can settle with this. I think there's enough room for me to do what I need to do in this spread. It does take up a lot of room, I will say that, but I just feel like there's something about it that just I don't like that much. Like visually it looks great, but otherwise it just kind of, I know it's probably gonna be my least favorite one to use that week because it is so long. And these are the butterflies that I have been talking about the entire video. It's probably my favorite part. I like that this was the one that I tied the weekly assignments and the actual week together with, and it's just, I needed something to put on the other ones, so I just grabbed another butterfly. I think it turned out pretty nice. It did kind of hurt me to waste all of the pieces of butterfly whenever I cut off this thing. I know they're not real, but like they were so pretty. The trimming of like these things around the edges, especially because they're not like square edges, is so frustrating. I do it on every single one of them. I think in the future, if I do ever use a Luke term again, I don't know if I would ever use a Luke term again. There's a lot of ghosting that happens because of the type of materials that I use, but who knows. I do like the way that the numbers and everything came out, but I did wrinkle this page while I was erasing, which is so frustrating to me. But now on to weekly assignments. I did indeed. So a lot of things that I switched up with these were just like what colors were which for the weekly assignments to make them each unique. But we're about at the end of the video, so thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.